Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Stretford, Paddock. I am Adam McKola. Manchester United have drawn 2-2 with Southampton at Old Trafford. And you know what? I know I predicted us to win. I'm always going to predict us to win, no matter who we play. But I had a bad feeling during this game. I was sitting there towards the end of the half just thinking, oh, God, I got this sickly feeling. And I don't know whether that's because Chelsea and Leicester dropped points. The onus was on us to perform. We get a result and we go third. And, you know, you think it's most likely, you know, we get Champions League football this season rather than don't. But we drop these points. We drop 2 massive points. It's all down to ourselves, really. And now we're still 5th. And going into those games against Palace, against West Ham, against Leicester, needing to win. Now, the good thing is, it's all still in our own hands. Leicester have some tricky games. Chelsea have some tricky games. But today, that result would have given both of those teams, their managers, their players, a massive boost. And that's not what Manchester United needed to do today. We go out there, we get 3 points. Leicester and Chelsea think it's done. Mentally, they're not in the next games. And they probably, you know, lose those spots quicker. And United are through before the end of the season. But unfortunately, we've handed the initiative back. Now, as I said, it's still in our hands. We win our games. We finish in the top 4. But ultimately, you have to be massively disappointed. Whilst there's been a point gained, we've also, you know, lost ground. We've lost where we should have been. You know, today we should have been getting the 3 points and we should have been pushing into that 3rd position. We didn't. And unfortunately, the players and the manager, they all have to take their little bit of blame in this. We'll go from the back to the front. Look, for the second goal, I felt sorry for Lindelof. I don't think he could have done much. You know, Nemanja Matic should have been clearing it though. The first header should have been there. But from back to front, David De Gea conceded 2 goals today. The first one, I don't think that was much his fault, although you could probably ask, whilst it's Pogba's mistake, and Pogba's got to be aware of his whereabouts, maybe David De Gea can see these things and he can tell him, and he maybe opts not to pass the ball. I don't know, I'd have to see it again, but whilst it was Pogba's fault, you know, you have to question De Gea a little bit. Then you go through the defence at the back. Luke Shaw picked up an injury. His replacement, Brandon Williams, comes on the field and he too gets injured. A massive injury that probably turned the game for him when he got that head knock. Maguire and Lindelof at centre-half. I think Lindelof played all right today. I thought he was the better one of the two, and I actually think he's been the better one of the two since the return of football. But I thought Maguire today, both attacking and defending, I feel like he could do better. And when you're looking at a man with an £80 million price tag and the captain's armband, look, I know he's improved our defence this season, but I'm also expecting to see a little bit better. And I don't look at Maguire at this time and think, I see an elite centre-half. And that is what we paid for, an elite centre-half. Now, it's his first season at United. You know, he's not long just started playing for England. He was at Leicester. So things have changed very quickly for him in his world, and he's still got to catch up with that and get to grips with things. But I just feel like, at the moment, he's not saying, I'm the first name on the team sheet. And when you're the captain and you're almost guaranteed to start, I think that can cause issues, and we're seeing it in a little bit of his performance. It's not quite there today. Matic in the midfield again. Look, that header, I think he should have won that header, cleared the ball out for their second goal. But apart from that, I didn't really, you know, see him make many mistakes today. He was his usual self, sitting in there trying to make things happen. Pogba and Bruno didn't have their best games today, probably their worst game since the lockdown and the return of football. I thought Paul Pogba, obviously a big hand in that goal for them. He's made that mistake a few times where he just doesn't, you know, sort his feet out quick enough. The midfield catches up to him, or the attackers, they press him, they loses the ball. And United, you know, conceding it was 1-0 from there. You know, maybe De Gea communicates better with him, but ultimately Pogba has to take the blame. Even if you just hold the ball up, feel yourself like, if who's there? He just had no awareness. And if you've got no awareness of what's going on and you're just turning into trouble, it's going to cause a whole load of problems. So Pogba had an off day today. Bruno had an off day today. And that 2-1, both of those players got substituted. At the time, I thought, can you really complain about these two getting substituted? Pogba hasn't had the best of games. Bruno hasn't looked too good. But you saw it. It was only a minute or two when it went to 2-2. But we just couldn't keep possession. We couldn't keep possession. We had Daniel James, who's a player that wants to get his head down, knock the ball and run. We had, you know, Marcus Rashford was on the field. Again, he's someone that's going to be looking in behind. You know, but we lost a lot of those players that would keep and retain possession. And as such, Southampton grew in confidence as the game went on, which was massively frustrating. And then further forward, I thought, our best players came from Rashford and Martial. Mason Greenwood, very, very quiet today. Wasn't surprised to see him substituted. He's going to have those kind of games, but the positive things from it came from those two, Martial and Rashford. They've broken a record as the most, the best partnership in terms of creating goals for each other in a single season. I don't think anyone's got more goals for them. They've been absolutely fantastic, and I think Martial showing signs of becoming a more complete number 9. He's working with his back to goal. If you look at his contribution to the opportunity for Marcus Rashford, his strength, his ability, his touch, and then laying off the ball to Rashford to finish was fantastic. He gets the goal as well, which was a typical Martial goal to stick us 2-1 in front. Both Rashford and Martial on 21 goals for the season, 4 away from that target of 25 that I set for them at the start. Fantastic stuff from both of them. But unfortunately, those were really the only 2 players that performed for us today. And when that happens against any Premier League team, you're not going to be on the winning side. In the second half, we had an injury to Luke Shaw, who was having a very, very good game. He played one fantastic crossfield ball for Rashford, who scored in the first half. He was offside. And maybe Rashford should have held his line a little bit. That was his fault. Fantastic ball from Luke Shaw. But just as he's finding form, he injures himself. Brandon Williams gets a chance. He takes a head knock. Whether he's going to be available for Palace now is a question mark. So now we've gone from having an unchanged team for 4 or 5 games to now potentially not knowing who's going to be playing at left back. Possibly Diogo Dalot, Ethan Laird. Who knows who's going to come into that position if these 2 aren't available. But those injuries were a sucker punch as well, because we had 1 injury still left over and we couldn't make it when Brandon Williams went off injured. So we were ultimately down to 10 men at 2-1. I feel like if we're with 11 men and we can make the substitutions we want, we probably, see the game out. But ultimately, if you don't take your chances at 2-1 in any Premier League game against any Premier League team, there's always going to be a chance, especially from set pieces, that they hit you with a sucker punch. And that's exactly what they did today. And I don't think we were great. I don't think we performed well. But if United won today, I don't think you could have argued, because we had the chances. Rashford could have had a hat-trick. Martial could have had a hat-trick. We had our opportunities to score today. And it should have been 3-4-1 before they even got an opportunity to equalise 2-2. Also, we fell behind. We reacted. It was an individual error. We fell behind. We reacted. We got back level. We got in front. How many times I've not seen teams, Manchester United teams particularly, do that? And then ultimately, we were just a minute away from holding on. So I can see where, maybe it's just one of those days where your luck has run out. We've had a little bit of luck over the last couple of games, 17, 18 games. We've kept things ticking. And maybe our luck just ran out today, I don't know. But it was a massive opportunity missed. And when you can go third and you're almost surely, you need 3 more points to get Champions League football, that's where you want to be. And Manchester United have to be in the Champions League next season. If we're not in the Champions League next season, we've only got ourselves to blame. But at the same time, I don't want to overreact. I don't want to get carried away. I don't want to start thinking, fucking hell, we've, all that shit. Because ultimately, we've done fantastically well to get ourselves into this position. And it's still all to play for. It's still all in our hands. Chelsea, Leicester have difficult games. So do we. But we know we win our games. We get Champions League football. The problem was we needed to win today, and we didn't. And it was down to individual errors. We've only got ourselves to blame for those 2 points dropped. Now, I want to see a reaction. We need to see a reaction. If we don't see a reaction from the players, that's when it is a problem. Over the years, how many times have we heard it from the Godfather himself, Sir Alex? When we have a bad result, how are you going to react? You can lose games at Manchester United, but how do you react? And that's the thing. That's be the message that should be coming from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who too made mistakes. So I want to see a reaction from him. I want to see a reaction from the players. Show me that this is just a blip. Show me that you belong at Man United. Show me that you belong in the Champions League. Because ultimately, if you can't beat Palace, and you can't beat West Ham, and you can't beat Leicester, you don't deserve to be playing in the Champions League anyway. Yes, it was a massive disappointment. Massively disappointed. But ultimately, maybe our luck just ran out a little bit today. And it's still all to play for, and we need to keep going. Martial was my man of the match. Goal and an assist from him. I thought it was another complete number 9 performance. I think he could have maybe done better with one that he should have gave to Rashford. But besides that, he played very well today. Almost set Rashford up to make it 3-1, which he should have done. So I think we could have been looking at this game in a different light had we held on and been saying it's a plucky game, plucky result. But that corner, that poor defending, that last gasp, lack of concentration has ultimately cost us. Hopefully it won't cost us a Champions League spot though. Let us know what you lot are thinking in those comments below. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing. I ain't even spoke about Romeu's red card. He should have been sent off. But ultimately, that's not an excuse because United should have seen the game out. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. I have been Adam McKola. This has been Stretford Paddock. Keep it locked. We're out.